All right, welcome back. Let's have some legal perspective to all of this issue. Now, I'm being joined on the program by GT Ogunye, who is a constitutional lawyer. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Yes,
help us to make sense of this. Could the vice president on this issue now, could the vice president actually waive his immunity, as he said?
Well, it depends on how what the vice president said is interpreted, or how he himself put it in communicating his wishes and decision. The question of waiving his immunity does not arise. Under Section 308 of the Constitution, the vice president, the president, deputy governor enjoy executive immunity.
Immunity, yeah.
And so no suits may be instituted against them in a personal capacity, and they can be summoned to a court. Summons issued by a court cannot be served on them.
So he had said this just to emphasize the importance or the gravity or the way he felt about it.
I will give the explanation. And for these category of public officers who enjoy executive immunity, they cannot be sued to court, save as a nominal party. Regarding their respective offices. So we have the case of Ibrahim Adesanya and the president in the Second Republic, for example. And so that office could be sued, but they cannot be sued in the personal capacity, like that. However, they can sue.
They can actually sue.
They can sue.
So it's not as
but they cannot be sued in respect of their grievances, in respect of their personal individuals, in respect of their persons. They may sue. For example, in a case of defamation or alleged defamation, they may sue, as it is the case on this occasion. And the authorities are very clear. First, we have the case of Tinubu and IMB Securities PLC, which was decided in 2001.
Tinubu, governor of Lagos State at
exactly, the time. In part 740. And then we have the second case, which is the case of Global Excellence Communication Limited and Duke.
General Duke, the former governor of Cross State.
In part, decided in 2007, also reported in Nigerian Weekly Law Report, part 1059. And the two authorities are saying, look, these persons, these state functionaries, cannot be sued. So it's like a shield, but they can sue regarding grievances that they may have, in respect of their personal individual. Of course, there is the other exception, that regardless of the fact that they occupy these offices, regarding election petitions,
now, so supposing
primaries in election,
they
can be sued.
Supposing the vice president sues, and along the line he's required to come testify in court.
Well, that's his case. He can sue. When you can sue, you can testify. When you can sue, when you can institute an action, you can testify. You can be cross-examined and all that. And that's what the vice president will have meant by saying that I wanted to waive his immunity. But once you are able to maintain an action, that means you can give evidence on your own behalf. As a matter of fact, it's almost inconceivable that in this kind of case, the vice president, if he wants to institute an action, will not give evidence in his own behalf. For example, you're talking about the defamation case, right? So the vice president goes to court, he front loads, because we are in the era of front loading. His written statement on those, expressing how injured he was when he read the allegedly defamatory statements and all that. So conceivably, he can give evidence in his own behalf.
What do you make of all of this? I mean, we've seen the newspaper, of course, that made that publication come out to retract it and then apologize to the vice president. But we've also seen the person who actually made that statement saying, you know, he stands by it and all of that. What do you make of it?
What does he stand by? Just a flippant, loose talk. Really? And the vice president is a lawyer, is a professor, so he can defend himself. So what's the substance here? Somebody who's far removed from government making such allegation. The institution concerned, Federal Inland Revenue Service, has come out to debunk that in a logical fashion. And people could read between the lines and make up their own minds. So saying that he stands by his story or by his allegation, what is the substance of it? You know, we live in an era where people can just make statements, wild statements, without substantiating them. So what document has he produced? I mean, in terms of movement of the money. I mean, what you know, during the election, there were pictures of people who were carrying bullion vans, right? And allegations were frontally made, and those people defended themselves and said that it's their money, right? So this person that is making this allegation, what is the substance? So I don't think there is something that
but you think
one should
no doubt there's politics involved, but you think this is politics taken too far?
Let me say this. I know that given the way government is broken in our climate, people who occupy public offices use state resources, state monies to run elections. Since 1999, we've had that in this country. Okay, so you can then make that assumption and then make an allegation. But there's a distinction between just making a wide allegation and then making a specific allegation and substantiating that allegation. So you abuse the public when you think that anything you just drop will be lapped up and then people will run by it and then it will trend. Doesn't make much sense to me. We live in an era where people just sit down and concoct news and post it. And you have that all over the place. So it's something that people should be wary of. There are people who have the opinion that, oh no, vice president, just leave it, it's politics and all that. Once you occupy public office, people will make accusations against you, right accusation, wrong accusations, false, true, and all that. Just take everything philosophically in your stride. There are even people who have suggested, you're a good Christian, turn the other cheek. But my view is that if the vice president feels strongly that he wants to sue, he should sue. And I'll give you the reason, which is very important. And I think that Nigerians should pay attention to this. Too often, we've seen government reacting to accusations in a knee-jerk manner. Journalists have been detained in this country by the SSS, a journalist for 2 years.
We have Agba Jalingo, for instance,
Agba Jalingo
been detained, yes.
And then been charged ridiculously for treason. Showore is yet to be released. And a number of people all over the place. And we have a governor in the country saying that if you say anything, that will instigate unrest in his own state, wherever you are, he has the right to come to your state and pick you. And all sort of very, unmeasured.
Which is not impossible because Jalingo was actually picked up in Lagos and taken to the
unmeasured statement. You see that happening. Now we've seen this stricture in the case of Otonwako and the state. Reported in Nigerian Constitutional Law Report 1985, 6th Nigerian Constitutional Law Report at page 228. Okay? Where the law of sedition as we knew it in the criminal code, section 50 thereof, was, nullified by the Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal admonished politicians and public office holders, in that case, that you should be prepared for criticism, fair and unfair, and that if you feel offended by criticism, you have the right to sue for defamation. My recommendation, therefore, is that starting from what the vice president is trying to do, it's better to sue because you have the resources. Okay? You'll be shielded by Section 308. cases cannot come against you. But when you are injured, rather than resort to criminal defamation, sedition, and the likes, and harass people exercising their right to freedom of expression under Section 39 or Article 19 of the United Nations Charter, just go sue. And so the step is taken, in my view, is a step that will grow Nigeria's democracy. That is civil. That is decent. Rather than just resorting to the state machinery
picking the person
to punish an opponent or an adversary or somebody that has said something against you, because you feel that you have the power to so do. And so for me, it will be good if, that step can be taken. And for those who talked about probity and accountability and due process and transparency in government, I talked about this. When the matter gets to court, we will then be able to see whether in truth that money was moved as alleged. And I think that will become wiser. I don't think that the vice president, if he feels strongly that he wants to, go to court over this, should be persuaded not to. Because I think that that's the right step to take, rather than resort to straight apparatus to then, punish somebody that you are alleging has offended you.
Now, very quickly, because we have to end now. You follow political developments in this country, and you know that this allegation also has a background in politics, so to speak. It comes at a time when, there's the insinuation out there that the relationship between the president and the vice president might be strained. From what you see and following political developments now, would you say, on the basis of, for instance, the president setting up the Economic Advisory Council, dissolving the economic management team headed by the vice president, asking that some agencies under the vice president should seek presidential approval, you think on the basis of those, we could say that the relationship between the president and the vice has gone so bad?
The person concerned has said that you are crying wolf, that the relationship cannot be better, that in fact it's not been this excellent. So why should Nigerians continue to insist that this relationship is strained? They are in the same political party. One is the vice president, the other is the president. I don't see the strain people are talking about. Look, there are good days and bad days in politics. Absolutely. And it's not only here. You can see the way the president of the United States keeps firing, is setting some of them up, discussing with them in closet, privately, thinking that their resignation will be accepted, and then he will come out to say that I've just fired you because he doesn't want to be humiliated as somebody whose government is being resigned from. That kind of thing. So it's all over the place. We'll see what is going on in the United Kingdom right now, right? And somebody was just making a comment yesterday, that the former prime minister will now be sipping her tea and sitting in her garden and then be laughing, whereas she was shedding tears when she was leaving, right? Because of what is. So there are good and bad days in politics. But what I'm concerned about is not, they are not conspiracy theories. I want to see governance. They've just gotten a renewal of a mandate. That's what we should focus on, not on strange relationship or whatever. These are gossip. What is my business with that? How does that put food on the table of an average Nigerian? How does that fetch somebody work where he cannot see? I mean, this government, they are talking about big issues. They want to lift people out of poverty. They are even alleging that they've lifted 5 million out of poverty. They want to lift more. Let's cross-check. Let's fact-check. Let's look at the data. Let's marry what they are saying with what the Bureau of Statistics is saying. Those are the issues, policy issues. I don't want to know about who's. Look, if relations are so strained and you cannot work with somebody, you are elected together with, the door is there, right? Or their constitutional means are not. They are a federal executive council. They have a means of resolving all these issues. What I'm bothered about is governance.
Thank you very much for coming on the program, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be discussing the 2020 budget. Stay with us. On DEJI 360, we don't just ask the questions, What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that band.
DEJI 360, providing clarity to issues.